everyone. My name is Andreas Diaz. Today we have another spectacular Andreas pop culture talk. Today I'm back with Jaedyn. How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing good. We having a great time, right? We're talking about rubbing alcohol, top secret. Talk about you know, a little bit of Cats, the 2019 film by Tom Hooper, which I thank God I didn't see, but I just saw clips of it and it was weird. Anyway, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. Really excited to be here. Excited to talk about Batman Returns and convince you to watch Cats 2019.
Hey, all right, I'll make you a deal. After this, maybe we should do what we did with Reanimator. Watch it like what we did like Discord, and then maybe we'll do like a podcast on cats. My initial reaction. How about that? To
I'm
like
so
we
ready.
okay, well, all right, well, let's do it because let's face it. I mean, Batman Returns is a very kinky film, and I cannot believe they got away with it.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's got some weird stuff in it.
Oh yeah. Um let's so before we get into the obvious things about Batman Returns, tomorrow actually, so tomorrow June 19th is the 30th anniversary for Batman Returns. Of course, this is the second film in the 90s Batman quadrilogy. As you call it, with the Tim Burton Joel Schumacher films, of course, directed by Tim Burton, and this is the movie where you say, okay, never give Tim Burton full control, and this is what you get
Mm.
of a Tim Burton film, and that's what it is. It's a Tim Burton film. I mean, that's what I said to you in our last text. I was like, this is a Tim Burton film. It just has Batman in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, it's definitely got a lot of Tim Burton style in it.
yeah. Um, I mean, like, I know a lot of people like this film, and I will personally say this: I did like a top 10, like I did a ranking of my favorite Batman films. It was never in my list because I just never liked this film. I
Mm.
it just personally for me, first off, I don't think Michael Keaton's Batman is Batman if you read the comics.
Yeah.
And I I I enjoy 89 because it was, like, I mean, 89 was like the action spectacular film that, like, just like was pure 80s action film that you got during those times. And then you get to this sequel, it's like it's I told Will, because I mentioned Will, I don't know, was one of the podcasts in Marvel Plus talk, when I mentioned how it's like Gremlins 2, the new batch, like it's a sequel where it goes 180 degree and it goes from a completely bonkers film. I mean, at least Gremlins 2 is a better film than this film, because this film is just like it's just so weak with story, and then it's style over substance most of the time.
Yeah, I feel like honestly, it like one of my problems with it is really the dialogue. It's not
Mm,
good.
yeah.
Like I almost feel like it would be better if it was like a silent movie and you just heard the score and like
Yes.
no one talked.
Yes. Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, it has like it could easily be a science film, like back in the like golden age of horror, like this the was it the Cabinet of Dr. Kalor or something like that, or I mean, or Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, sort of that level of science film. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah, this, I mean, the dialogue is just not top notch like the '89 film. Like '89, you can quote the like quotes from Joker. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's your favorite quote, but my favorite is like, "Never rub, your group hearts," whatever you say. It's just
Hmm.
so funny. And of course, the devil, the Pale Night is a good, quote from the Joker, and it's like this
Iconic.
thing, yeah, kind of like. And here it's just you don't get that. Like, um, I will say I enjoyed more the dialogue between Catwoman and Batman than really at all with Penguin. I will say.
Hmm. I will actually disagree with you. I feel like
Oh, okay.
I feel like they're like Michael Keaton did a fine job and Michelle Pfeiffer did a good job, but I feel like
Mhm.
they didn't really have a lot of chemistry. Like,
Huh. Okay. Interesting.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, interesting because for me, for me and the general consent, the best thing about Returns is Michelle Pfeiffer,
Hmm.
and for me, this is before I think Zoe Kravitz and Robert Pattinson versions of Batman Catwoman came around. This was for me like the good, like it was a great depiction of the Batman and Catwoman relationship, despite how drastically different Catwoman is from this
Yeah.
film, from the comics.
I feel like I haven't seen a lot of the animated series, but I
Mm.
feel like the bits that I did see, I thought it was better done there. Um,
Oh yeah, I mean, um, oh boy, yeah. I I like it there. It's very interesting because for me, like she's actually I just never care about the animated series take on that character. I prefer her when
mm,
she was more of the cat burglar in the new Batman Adventures show. When we had like Tim Drake and Batgirl, and we did more of the Bat family there. Later on in the Batman, the DC animation universe,
yeah,
because they had a pick where she was like an aminal activist, something like that in that show. Um, yeah, I mean, just personally, but I can
mm,
see why. And Batman animated series is the definitive Batman for me as well. So I can argue that.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very interesting. You say you don't like like are not fond with the dialogue between Batman and Catwoman. I just because I will disagree. I think they have chemistry. It's
Hmm.
just like either you take the the ethical direction of these two characters being crazy, and it's like, can you accept can you accept this character Bruce Wayne like falling in love with this like obviously damaged girl that is seriously having problems and like wants to kill her boss, of course played by Christopher Walken. Is like,
And fairly so. He murdered her.
yes. And one thing I want to get into is your opinion. You think that she has superpowers?
Who has superpowers? Christopher
Catwoman.
Walken or
No, 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 not Christopher Walken. Catwoman.
um? Well, it seems like she at least came back from the dead in some capacity. So
Yeah.
probably something. But she's kind of like an analog for Batman in that way, in that she's doesn't really
Hmm.
have superpowers when it comes to fighting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Um. Well, like, it's a very ambiguous thing in the movie. Like, or well, personally for me, it's not ambiguously in the film, but like the creators in the studio somehow didn't understand or were kind of confused if she had powers. Like,
hmm,
and so I always thought it was always like, no, no, she has superpowers because as you said before, it's like she gets shot and get drummed down to like 40 feet of building. It's like, and
yeah,
like uh, and they do play up like the nine lives cat thing in in the film, and especially towards the end when he goes
yeah,
into like kill Max Shreck with the taser, and and the whole you know uh, generator thing is like okay. um and this is not connected to the film, but like it's overlapping, but like the Halle Berry Catwoman has powers there, and like it's somewhat similar to what Michelle Pfeiffer's character is here with the way, but it's just over there in Halle Berry movie is it's more obvious than here. But I mean,
yeah.
it's apples
And
to
I,
tomatoes.
Yeah, and I don't
Yeah.
think it's like I don't think it detracts from the movie that she. It's unclear,
Okay.
and I guess it like theoretically she could not have powers, and like she just got really lucky. But
Yeah.
you know, I think part of like my favorite part of Michelle Pfeiffer's performance is like after she kind of falls presumably to her death and comes back, she really
Mhm.
does like act like someone who just got resurrected, like completely like changes your sense of identity and like
Yeah.
relationship to reality. And it's
Oh,
just kind of like horrified and throughout the rest of the movie. So I thought that was really good.
okay. Okay. Yeah, because her scene when she goes back to her apartment, and then, like like when she comes back from the supposed the dead, she comes back to the apartment as like the routine we saw from the beginning of the film. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh, honey, I'm home, and then like instead of being clumsily, she just like did like she's just like out of zone, like she just walks in, and then she just press the messenger thing in the telephone, and then she gets the milk, and then slowly when the message starts bringing up, this like was it woman perfume or whatever it was,
yeah,
and then the Metro Mac, and then she starts to like completely have a breakdown and then just trashes her apartment. Is such a wonderful scene. I mean, because of Michelle Pfeiffer, like she
yeah,
sells that scene so perfectly.
yeah,
Uh
I,
oh god.
yeah.
Uh
Um,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that scene is just and the music. I mean, you mentioned um or early on, like I think for me, another like I think great thing about this film is the music by Danny Elfman. You mentioned how this film could easily been a silent film. Like Danny Elfman's score for this film is very iconic. I really enjoyed the score here. It's not as bombastic as the first Batman film, but like it has more of like a dark, eerie overtones, and like it has a lot of the usual Tim Burton Danny Elfman score that you usually hear, like the circus like themes, and then and of course this is Christmas, and just like Nightmare Before Christmas, it has that kind of music Christmas motif, which is great.
yeah.
What do you think about the score?
Oh, I
uh,
really liked it. I agree
yeah,
that it's like this was. It's interesting because this is such like an early film for Tim Burton. So,
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
so it feels like the score is like it's before they kind of got into like too much of a rhythm with things and things became a little too like routine. So I think it's a little more
Yes,
dynamic than some of the later scores that he would do, even though it has some of the same like elements. It's still a very Tim Burton score.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like yeah, this is like it was like after Dick Tracy, Dark Man, and Edward Scissorhands, particularly. That's like
Yeah,
you know,
the
eh,
Catwoman kind of making the claws out of I guess sewing machine parts was very Edward Scissorhands.
yes. Oh my god. Oh yeah. Yeah, and then like who else? Like Penguin for me is like a very much Baby Juice level of grotesque character.
Yeah,
Um, like I don't know, something worked there with Baby Juice than well, in my opinion, worked there than this movie did for me. So just but yeah, but I guess want to get into it. What was your what's the best thing about this film, and then the worst thing?
I think the style is the best thing the film has going for it. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Um, like it's just got great atmosphere and like the set design is really good and like the vibes are just very cool. Um, but I think like you'd mentioned, the worst thing is really like the scripts. I
yeah,
mostly, especially like dialogue, because like the plot itself, if you zoom out, isn't really a problem. but like
Hmm.
it just I don't think like the dialogue carries the aesthetic of the film as well as the visuals do.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
because it's like it's supposed to be very dark but stylized and also kind of like funny and uh like um kind of wacky in a way.
Yeah.
And I don't think the dialogue really balances that as well. Um,
Mm. Interesting. I agree on that, but for me, well, I agree. I think this is it's definitely a weak screenplay. I feel like my problem with it is really Tim Burton because I sometimes feel like he kind of zones out in certain scenes,
mm,
and so he kind of focus on the visuals in certain scenes, and or like I because I didn't know this, like I didn't know he actually is like a cartoonist, and like you know I mean it's kind of obvious. You see like the drawings and all that, like he's an artist, and
yeah.
in his background is cartoons, because he worked with Walt Disney actually early on in his career, and like you see like a lot of gags in this movie that's like, or things that he does, the Batman putting the bomb on that once this muscle man, and like that is literally like a Looney Tune gag. Like you could see that
Oh,
in the Looney Tunes.
I also loved how like Batman kills a lot of people in this movie. It's kind of funny comparing it to like the Dark Knight trilogy where it's like, oh, he can never kill, and he's just murdering people left and right. He doesn't even care. Like he also is responsible for a lot of people's deaths. Like he doesn't save most people,
People, yeah.
and like when Penguin takes control of his car, he just like mows down like 30 cops.
Oh my
So
god.
and he doesn't even really seem to care, which is kind of funny. Like I don't really know what his ethics are. He just seems kind of like he just wants to like beat up criminals and doesn't really like. I think there was even a part about it where he's like that saying that his job isn't really to fix the city or that people don't appreciate him or something. And it's like he's really not doing much. Like Gotham is not a safe city to live in. And I don't
N-
think he's making it safer. He's just making the criminals like wackier. Like you're gonna get like still murdered, but you're gonna get shot with like a giggle gun instead of a regular gun. But it's still
Regular.
gonna kill you.
Oh my god, yes. Yeah. I mean that's always the thing about these films, the Tim Burton films, is like they're because they were trying so hard to get rid of the '60s image
Mm.
and the '60s show with Adam West, and um I I can understand that, but I I mean personally for me it's like they never have a balance of like the tones of these films, or specifically Batman Returns, is like whiplash. Like it's like
Yeah.
first dark, then it goes to this goofy like comic book like logic, and then it just has really bizarre tone that just doesn't work in this film. And but because like the performances for me helps me to get through those like shaky themes, it's just really bad. But I want to ask you something. Like, does it bother you that he does kill? I mean, besides like, I mean, I mean, it's funny he's just randomly killing people. But I mean, he did do this in the first one. But my problem was in there they didn't make it obvious. Here they like just made it obvious. Like they make it obviously he kills people, and it's like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
I just don't
It's
understand. What do you
he
think?
well, he's certainly like I feel especially in this movie, he's like there's very little difference between him and the villains in terms of
Yeah.
like really he just decided to help people and they decided to kill people as ways to deal with whatever they've got in their heads.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't feel like he cares about helping people. It's just like that happens to be the thing he likes to do.
Yeah. Uh, very scarily. he's doing this. Like, yeah, it's so weird. And then like it's even weirder when he's trying to stop Catwoman to prevent her to kill Max Shreck, and is like, "What you talking
Yeah,
about? Like, you're killing so many of these people in the film, and then you're stopping her to just to not kill this victimizer that like killed her half earlier in the film, like."
and like he's like, oh, he will face justice, and the police will take care of him. It's like the police don't do anything. They're terrible.
I know. Oh my god. Yeah.
Like they wouldn't need Batman. They wouldn't build a bat signal if they had things even remotely under control. Their prison is a joke. People break out all the time. There's like criminals run the city.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's so weird how like the mayor or well, really everyone in Gotham not knowing the fact that Max Shreck is taking away the city's power to like console it into this one area for him to control. Like like how you cannot see that like through, right? Like from this corrupt businessman that's taking advantage of everyone in the city.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
understanding was that he didn't like hadn't started building it yet. Like I think
Yeah,
yeah,
it's not yet. Like he's trying to like get through the mayor and everyone to like pass permits and all that, like to get the project off ground.
yeah.
That's why he uses Penguin, to be the mayor so that he can get that done
Yeah.
very smoothly. You know.
It felt
Let's get.
like oh sorry.
No, no, sorry. Go ahead. What you were gonna say?
It felt like that was kind of like a Chekhov's gun situation, but nothing happened. Like he's
Yeah.
building this power plant, but it feels like something should have happened with it.
Hmm.
Like it was like his kind of motivation, but then it never came up again. So I don't know.
Yeah. What's your opinion on Max Shrek? Because like, despite the film being with the the three characters we see in the marketing and all that, but like, Chris Walken is in this film, and like he's like the main, like he's like another character that's very significant like, in the plot. And what do you think about him overall in this film?
I
But
I mean Christopher Walken is certainly in this movie. Uh he
yeah,
it's really like hard to like at least Danny DeVito is in so much makeup that he doesn't really look like Danny DeVito. But
yeah,
every
the
time
video,
I
yeah.
see his Max Shreck's face, it's like, oh, that's Christopher Walken. Uh, but
Okay.
yeah, I like, I think he was a good villain, but kind of one dimensional, and like, the Penguin was always doing something more interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So my negative is Penguin. I just don't care about what's going on with Penguin. Where the Max Shreck character, I actually like more because his plot makes more sense. Like, like just a minute ago, I just mentioned about the power plant.
yeah,
Was it consoling the power at one place is very interesting. It's a very like corporate and relatable thing because that can happen in real life. And for me, with the penguin thing, like the plot that we have for penguin is like all over the place. Like, like first thing he wants to like take out all the firstborn
yeah,
kids, and then he gets involved with this another plot with Shrek of becoming the mayor, and then when those both doesn't work, he just then decides to blow up the whole city with penguins with rockets, and I'm like, oh my god, it's just way over. Like, there's just too many cooks in the kitchen with the penguin for me.
mm,
Where Max Schwick, I feel like there's just more of a focus with him,
yeah.
which they don't even pay attention to, and that's the thing I hate about the most about this film.
I feel like what I liked about the Penguin was that like you
Hmm.
get a better view into why he's doing what he's doing. Like the intro
Oh,
of the movie shows him being abandoned, and he has
Yeah.
like this weird class resentment where like he
Yeah.
feels like he deserves to be like a rich person who becomes mayor.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I feel like with Max Shreck, like beyond that he's like an evil businessman.
Okay.
Um, I didn't feel like I I felt like we weren't as tied to his motivations as you were with Penguin. Um,
Yeah.
like he had a
Yeah.
son who he loves, but that only comes up the very beginning and the very end,
Yeah.
and he wants power because he's evil. Um, whereas with like Penguin, even though he's like less, he's more emotionally driven. He just
Hmm.
kind of does. He takes out his anger on the thing that has wronged him in some way. Um,
Yeah. No, no,
with
that
Max Shreck, it's it it felt more disconnected from that, if that makes sense.
no, no, it makes sense. Well, yeah, and then there's also the thing where, for me, he's also like a plot thread to connect these characters into one place. Like he really connects Catwoman and Penguin into the plot of Batman Returns to face off Batman. You know, like
Yeah,
eh, like okay, when they meet up in the mayor layer where Penguin was at. They meet up because Penguin wants to kill Bat. Well, he's trying to fill up the mayor campaign thing, and then Catwoman is trying to destroy Shrek, right? And then the one thing that's kind of connected to them is the Max Shrek thing, and
yeah,
so like it's just an easy plot convenience to just make it work, and so that's why we don't like really get enough with Shrek and as a character emotionally and like plot wise, which is a shame because I think there's a lot of interesting things to do with Max Shrek. Like he reminds me of like Rupert Thorne or Matt or like Robert um what was it, Roland Daggett from the Batman animated series, like one of those business kind criminals that Batman has to face, but they always attack Bruce Wayne. Like I feel like that's something I like could have been interesting to see in Batman film, but we just didn't do it here.
and speaking of characters who didn't get enough attention,
Yeah.
Batman. I feel like there really wasn't. There was not that much Batman, and he didn't really have an arc in this movie. He was
No.
just kind of there.
Yeah, just kind of there. Like it's so weird. Like uh, Tim Burton and Mike Keaton like this film more than the first film, but like I don't know. Like some reason the first film did a lot for that version of Batman there than this film does. Um,
Yeah,
I Yeah, that's one of my problems with these films, or in general the Batman four films we have, is like they just don't focus on Batman. Like they struggle to balance so many of these characters, and like he gets lost. And this movie. I think out of the four Batman films, is like he barely like in the film. Like he doesn't have too many dialogue. He's very quiet.
yeah. I
Um,
feel. I feel
wait,
like these movies have kind of the opposite problem that the MCU has with like totally unmemorable villains in most of the movies. Like this
mm,
one, Batman is kind of the unmemorable part, and like
the villains are
the villains are a lot more memorable.
yeah,
Like Joker, Penguin, or Catwoman versus Batman.
yeah.
Um,
And then Riddler, Two Face, and then of course the last one like Ivy and Freeze and Bane. God.
yeah, it's
Oh
like
my god.
I also feel like Batman, Bruce Wayne, kind of have like a more subtle personality in a movie that's not subtle. Like
Yeah, it's true. Huh, it's a good one. Yeah.
like like he's got trauma, he's got like a very kind of deadpan sense of humor, he's got living this double life, but all of that doesn't really matter when there's a guy who's controlling penguins with a remote, and they're gonna bomb the city, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, like he knows, like, oh no, it's gonna be fine because I'm gonna stop it like in a few minutes. Like, yeah. Oh my god, yeah, yeah, I agreed. I don't know, like I like the dead humor with Afrin. It makes more sense there because like he's usually like the voice of reason or like the comedic relief, and I actually do like some of the moments here with Afrin. Like, I do like the line that they call back on the first film about him letting Vicky Val in the Batcave.
Yeah,
Um, like that was funny, and like like when Batman goes to the whatever vault, they had the spikes, and then he's like, "Oh no, I'll take the stairs."
yeah. What was your favorite line from the movie, if you have one?
Oh man, that's a good one. My uh, I- my favorite was like from Penguin. I think my favorite is when he said like he's thinking about becoming the mayor. He's like, the mayor of Gotham City. Like, I want a giant ice cube I've ever seen. Like, that's my
Hmm.
favorite line. But yeah, that's
Um,
oh my. What's your favorite line?
well, since I just saw this movie for the first time yesterday,
Yeah,
I can say I my favorite line was when Batman gets framed for murdering the Ice Queen or whatever, and
yeah, Dice
Commissioner
Princess.
Gordon, yeah, and Commissioner Gordon's like the evidence is very circumstantial, and he holds up a batarang and he's like, "We found this
Yes,
covered in blood in the
blood.
dressing room," and it's like, oh my god.
They're like cover. He's like covering up Bruce
It's
Wayne,
like
Batman's.
very circumstantial, guys. Like that's really funny.
Oh
Um,
my god.
and Ree's favorite line was when Penguin pivots to murdering all the firstborns in the city, and like
Yeah.
some guy is just like, "That's a little dark, don't you think that?"
Oh, with the fat
And
clown, and then he shoots him. Oh my god. Yeah.
and Penguin's like, What do you think? What have we been doing this whole time? Of course we're gonna murder the children." And that was Ree's favorite line.
Oh my god. Jess, did Jess see this film?
Nah, she is out of the state
Oh
at the
yes, yes, she's
moment.
out of the country. Okay, so she didn't see it. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. The clown thing that was funny. It's just like silence, and then he picks up his umbrella and then shoots him. It's so funny. Um. Yeah. Oh no no, not my favorite line, but my favorite scene. It always cracks me up. You know when we first meet up Penguin, and then he tries to blackmail Max Shreck, and like he has these things like he taped all this document from the trash that's from
Yeah,
Max Shreck's company, and then he has this toxic waste thing in a container, and, and then we get it to the last day where he has something in this Christmas sock. You don't know what it is, and he takes out a hand, this silver hand,
yeah,
and he's like, "Hello, Max is my friend, Fred, or something like that." And then the last scene of Max and Penguin, he is like, they make a deal, and then he like shakes it. He's like, "You never regret this, Mr. Shreck." And then he shakes it, and then he walks away. He's like, "Oh,
yeah. And it was the dead person's hand. I
yeah,
thought like that was really good because they didn't draw too much attention to it. It was just like a
yeah."
quick visual gag,
Hmm.
but it was pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah, that I don't know. Some reason that always cracked me up when, like, because it's funny how Penguin just walks away from the scene. He's like, "Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
I
keep that
think
hand."
like in the movie's best moments, it balances that kind of like humor and also the darkness of it really well. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
and in its worst moments, it doesn't balance them at all, and it's a mess.
yeah. Yeah. The messy one, I think for me is like, oh, what is it? I think for me it's like the Batman Bond thing with the guy. That one always bothers me for some reason. Um, I don't know, like
Mm.
just seeing Batman smirking, it's just
As he
like,
murders a guy,
yeah, I don't know, like that always like rubbed me wrong in some way as a Batman fan.
it's. I thought it was like not being that deep of a Batman fan. I thought it was just kind of funny. It's like, what?
Yeah, like,
That's
oh,
his
go
whole
ahead.
deal.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, it was funny, and then like, and then, well, then it was funny, like. when the guy like looks down and like you hear the clocking being ticking. I was like, wait, what? How he activated that? Like, oh my god, it was so. Oh my god, it's just so funny. I what else? I mean, I do like they do have like was it the Wilhelm scream? Like I actually like that scene where Batman comes out from the corner and then he hits the guy coming out of nowhere and like throws him away. Like that, I like that scene. That was funny.
I
Um,
think I think the Wilhelm scream is okay. Like at the time, I think it was fine, but at this point, like I don't want it in movies anymore because now it just kind of
yeah,
takes me out of it. You know,
yeah. Um,
it's like, oh yeah, that it's the thing that's in all the movies, and
yeah,
it's like then you remember that someone's like editing this movie together and added sound effects, so you're not really in it anymore. But
yeah,
so I feel like the '80s was the last decade for the Wilhelm scream to not be overused.
yeah. I agreed. I don't know. It's weird because I never. I'm trying to figure out where they used it in films recently because I remember specifically in Man of Steel they did it.
Mhm.
Um, and then that's it. I don't. I mean, Star Wars they do it, but it's like it's very like subtle sometimes. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
at least in the new ones. In the old ones, you can always hear it.
Oh yeah.
But
Yes. But yeah. Okay. What else? Do you have like a worst moment in this film? Like
hmm.
I don't like.
um, I some parts are definitely gross. Um, but
Oh yeah. Um. Did Penguin biting the person's nose still bothers you?
oh no, I thought that was par for the course. I expected that, and like that made sense to me. Um,
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
some of the running for mayor parts, maybe. Um,
Um.
I felt like it was weird that they never really resolved Batman getting framed. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same thing with Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. Like they didn't resolve that there either. So yeah. Yeah, weirdly this movie started a lot of trends, like the Batman frame thing, the Christmas Batman centric things, and then what else? Like the Batman stealing the Batmobile is like a recurring thing with
oh yeah.
Penguin.
Would you consider this a Christmas movie?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say yes. But it's a very anti Christmas film. Um weirdly.
Hmm.
Like it goes against a lot of like the tropes and like the things it's actually interesting looking you brought up like how early this is. Like this is in between Edward Scissorhands and Night Before Christmas, and those films they're Christmas stories where they go against the type of Christmas
Yeah.
like tradition movies that you expect. Like there's no happy ending for this film, so it's a very anti Christmas film um, for me. But I will still consider watching it in Christmas time. I mean, I just love like the Christmas scene in Gotham City. It's like just I don't know. It just adds that flavor to it that I like. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I
wait,
think
it's a
that's
Chris.
one thing. Oh, sorry.
No, no. For you, is it like a Christmas film for you when you saw it yesterday?
I'm gonna say I think it's a movie that takes place at Christmas, but I
Hmm.
don't think engages enough with like the idea of Christmas to be like a Christmas movie. But on the
Yeah.
topic of like it the setting and how it like it's Gotham at Christmas time, I feel
Yeah.
like that's something this movie did a lot better. It made Gotham seem more like a real place and like a
Mm,
city with its
yeah.
own personality. Whereas like in the Dark Knight movies, it's basically just New York City. Uh,
Yeah.
it's like it feels like the whole movie, like every shot of the city is like B roll. You know, It's like
Yeah,
it's a place, but I don't really feel connected to it in any way.
yeah, I agreed. That's why I like the new the Batman. I don't know if you've seen that. I actually like the decision from Matt Reeves to make the Gotham City terrain a lot because it adds an element of like that's a real city where it's covered of water and it's like it that film it feels like a lot like Seven, where every day seems like it's raining, and
Yeah,
I feel like it just adds a more like just element to where it feels real than being like a soundstage like 89 or like in the Dark Knight trilogy you brought up, like using like a real city and it doesn't have like a personality really. uh which is my issue with the Dark Knight trilogy, is like I wish they did something more creative with Gotham City. So yeah,
yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah, I mean the aesthetic here is just amazing. I mean I love the Batman suit for this, Batman Returns. um I still like the 89 suit, but I think this one just takes it up a notch. Like,
Mm.
just like because everything's all black, like the villains were black, and like everything looks so like prestige in this black and white backgrounds. Like it's so visually appealing to watch.
Yeah, yeah. I think the visuals are so good. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. What else? I have a question. Did you like heard any of the unmade decisions for this film, like before it was made? Like, did you read the first draft of the Batman Returns and
mm,
like um
I
yeah.
did not.
Okay, so I think this is a good way to discuss this. I want to bring up very fun trivia. So before Tim Burton agreed to return, Sam Hamm, the writer from the first film, came back here. The first draft. The two villain thing, which this also starts famously, the two villain trope for the Batman films. Catwoman was for Tim Burton and Sam Hamm, the writer. That was their choice for the villain. Where Penguin was a studio mandate uh, choice. They thought Penguin was like the second villain after the Joker, so that was the studio mandate. So they, some reason, thought that combining two villains was the good option. Okay. In the first draft, there were Penguin and Catwoman in that first draft was supposed to be the more comic book accurate depictions, and
Mm.
they were going after treasure, and like it felt more of a sequel to 89. So like Vicky Vale came back, and actually in that screenplay, funny enough, Bruce Wayne proposed to her.
Ooh.
Yep. So and then you see this film, it's like the relationship fall apart, and like he's just recluse billionaire,
Yeah,
and yeah. Uh, and then this film, this is something from the comics, but they talk more about like the five families in Gotham City, and like this writer was going to go in depth of why the Waynes did die, like why they got murdered from the first film, and so like it was a much more like plotty film.
yeah,
And I learned this from a podcast from they actually did like a read through of this first draft, and then when they enter, when Warner Brothers again, granted Tim Burton's full control, he brought up something I didn't notice. Like some of the Tim Burton films are not plotty. Sometimes they're not. They're not like they're very thin in plot.
yeah,
So I do you agree? Like some of the films are like very thin plot. Like I mean, this film is literally like a thin plot. Um,
yeah.
what do you think?
I
I
would agree with that. I don't think
okay,
that's necessarily a bad thing. Like I think
okay,
um
mm,
like some of the simpler plotted movies are like compelling if it's a simple and good plot, and then
yeah,
like a lot of it is filled in by his style. Um
yeah,
but I think it
I
still needs like like a solid plot to anchor it, even if it is more of just
yeah,
like a basic one. This one might actually have too much plot for its own good. It's
yeah,
balancing a lot of things at the same time.
yeah. It is. Like yeah, I agree with that because like Edward Scissorhands is not like a huge plot. Like it's a very simple story, but done well by Burton and the cast there. So like, I just feel like the writers here, the new writer, like the main one that took credit after the Sam Ham is Daniel Waters. Um, and so Daniel Waters is a writer who did Heathers. I don't know if you know that film. That's
Yeah.
with yeah. So he was brought on to rewrite the whole draft, and so that's why we get like a lot of the like dark humor and then the kinkiness of all that. Like and and then the first so his story he Uh, so like, there's you know when the devil circus person that like flames to that store, when Batman turns does the like the turnaround in the Batmobile.
Yeah.
So that store was supposed to be a Batman like merchandise theme store. There was going to
Mm.
be a plot where like there was like satirical like meta commentary on Batman in general, like merchandising and like all that, which got cut out, and that store was supposed to be a Batman memorabilia store, whatever you call it, and so his script was very much like a dark satirical like take on the superhero Sandra, like it was like a superhero satire basically, and
Yeah.
there um in the first draft they didn't have Max Shreck, but here he brings up a plot where there's a brother for Penguin. So there was supposed to be a character that was a brother of Penguin, where he had the life that Penguin didn't get,
Mm.
and he was factoring into to the whole plot of everything. So, and then this is another writer called Strick. He did the remake of Cape Fear with Robert De Niro, and then he did Arachnophobia, the 1990 horror comedy with John Goodman and Jeff Daniels. He did an uncredited rewrite, and there he got rid of. Well, first off, he got rid of the brother thing for some reason because I actually liked that idea because it made more sense for Max Shreck to be a
Mm.
brother with Penguin because it just feels weird why we have this guy working with Penguin in the film. It's
Yeah.
like like you brought up how like we don't focus enough on the emotional and plot driven with Shrek in the film. So I don't know. I just personally don't think. And then, of course, he gets rid of the most important thing is how did they got the Batmobile spec when they take over the Batmobile. It was there
Mm.
in the secondary draft, and then some reason this third writer got rid of it for some reason. It's just I just a lot of plot holes in for the screenplay for that. Um, but yeah, and then I try to remember what were the other significant thing for Batman Returns. Um, but yeah, I think that's it. Do you have any opinions about what I say? Um,
Um, no, I think that all makes sense. I don't know if they needed to be brothers, but I could see how that would tie
mhm,
things together a little better, which
okay.
wouldn't have hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I I never minded, but I just thought like it could have been a more interesting take to make Shrek be a brother of Penguin,
Yeah.
because but yeah, what else? Oh, Penguin's father, who's played by Paul Rubens, right?
Was he? Oh wow.
Uh, yeah, that's who he is. I didn't. Did you? I thought you recognized him. I mean he's very was it unrecognizable in the film, I guess.
And he's only in it for like a minute too. Yeah.
Yes. So Paul Rubens is the father of Penguin there, and he also reprised that role in the show Gotham, as well as again Penguin's father there. So originally it was supposed to be with Burtis Meredith, who played the Penguin in the '60s show, but of course he was kind of falling ill that time, so they couldn't get him. So like Paul Rubens came in and do that. Um, to be the Penguin. So because like they worked together in the movie Pee Wee's Big Adventure,
Yeah.
which also funny movie. I love that film. Um,
Always Tim Burton has some really not Tim Burton movies.
oh yeah, it.
Always
I mean,
fun.
yeah. I mean that, and then I mean '89 is very kind of on Tim Burton, like film, really. So,
Yeah.
and then what else? Planet of the Apes definitely feels not like a Tim Burton film.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep,
He's
yep.
got range, even if he never shows it.
Yeah, no. I always think Joel Schumacher was a better director than Tim Burton because like at least he branched out more with other genres, where Tim Burton just he sticks with the thing he is very comfortable with, which I don't have a problem with, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. He's it's always like, directors are hit and miss sometimes, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're like M Night Shyamalan, then there's a problem.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know if you noticed this, but speaking of the nose thing, I'm happy you didn't get bothered with that. I was bothered until I actually discovered something, and I don't know, it's coincidences or a very odd way to homage or references. So I guess you haven't seen the show, the '60s show, right? Um,
Just clips from it.
Okay, I have the box, and I actually saw the whole first two seasons, and I rewatched it when I did like a top 10 list on certain characters of that show.
Mhm.
I the Penguin. This plot is actually a episode plot from that show. There's a two-parter called wait, what would you call it? The Dishonor the Penguin and uh the Hansen Penguin or something like that. Hold on, let me do this right now because you are gonna be amazed about this. Here we go. Season two, I know that. Where are you, you crazy episodes? Okay. His his Sonar the Penguin and this Sonar the Penguin. These two parters are where Penguin and Batman square off in the Gotham City mayoral mayoral election. And so this is where the episode where Penguin runs for mayor in that show. And then I think it was the first part or the second part of that episode. There was a scene where Penguin walks around and sees his like I don't know what you call it, voters or like his supporters, and,
Yeah.
this lady has a baby, like carrier, and then the Penguin comes close to it and say, "Does the giddy goo whatever you do with the baby?" And the baby bites Penguin's nose,
Got it.
and yeah, and he bites it. And then here, I was like, did they did that intentionally? So instead of the baby biting Penguin, instead we get Penguin biting a person's nose to homage this silly scene in a disturbing
Mhm.
way. I don't know, but so I just wanted to bring that up because when I saw this episode, I was like, no way that they did it, and it's very convenient. But the whole mayor stuff is from the show, and this is something we've been doing it for so many times with the Penguin. Like even in the comics in Batman Earth One, the Penguin is running for mayor there. So it's just a recurring trend that we're doing with this Penguin becoming mayor for some reason. So anyway, so just want to bring that up if you didn't know that,
Hmm.
Jaden.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of influence from the Burton films, the '60s shows, just crazy, and yeah, very funny. So you seen? So you say your mom didn't show you this movie, so you saw the '89 film, right?
Um, I've seen the '89 film once,
Oh,
um,
okay. And
but
then
yeah,
okay, and then well, because we, you know, you and I did the Forever one. You've seen that film more times, right? Right? Uh,
only a couple times.
a
And
couple
we did
times.
that. That was a long. We did that forever ago now.
Yeah, 2 years ago,
Yeah.
2020, when we were in lockdown. Um, Man, and then what's your opinion on Batman and Robin? Uh, I'm kind of curious about that.
It's
Um,
not good.
yeah, so just once for that film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Enough times.
enough times. Yes. Okay, that's good. Okay, so and just in your opinion, like, do you consider this as a, like how you rank this film overall with the Batman films, these four '90s films, basically?
Um, between the four, um, I would say it's about equal with the '89 film for me. Um,
Okay,
and then I
okay.
put Forever and Batman and Robin underneath it. Um, I think like it does like the style of it is very unique. So it gets some points for that over '89, but
Okay, okay.
'89 has a more put together plot.
Yeah, I mean, it's more acceptable, accessible to general audience than this
Yeah.
film is.
But in terms of '90s Batman content, it pretty much all goes underneath the animated series.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll definitely put Batman Massive Phantasm over these films. Definitely, and then episode as well. Yeah, okay. I will agree on your list. I think a lot of people do put that there. For me, I I say in general, I put Batman Forever as number one for me
Hmm.
for these films because that film, despite the over how you say over the top craziness and just product placement that film is, it was trying to be a Batman film, and it actually was attempted. Like it was the first to really focus on Bruce Wayne as a character than these first two Batman films ever did. Um, and I think overall that had a better thematic theme that I can lash onto
Mm.
in that film. Then second, I will put '89 because, as you say before, Jaedyn, that is a much better plot put together film. It's much more accessible. It's more action packed. It's a spectacle film, which I really enjoy. I mean, nothing can beat Jack Nicholson's Joker. I love his character there. I mean, I love the museum part when they put the prints on and then they tore apart the whole museum, and like it's just so fun and
Yeah,
just so good. And then Dead. So my least favorite is this and Batman and Robin. You know, it's a
yeah,
toss up, really. I just I think I will say I'll put Returns dead last because this film is disgusting, uh, weird, uh, is not a Batman film, and that's it.
fair enough.
And you know, I mean, I don't like Batman and Robin, but I mean, at least it's a Batman Robin film, and
Yeah,
it's trying to be funny, which it isn't, but like there's things I like in Batman and Robin, and it's just not a big deal, you know.
yeah,
So that's how I rank things outside of the other Batman films we had so far.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
feels like even though there have been a lot of Batman films, it feels
Hmm.
like everyone like it feels like it's always like there's always this struggle to identify what a Batman movie should be.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Hmm.
um, what do you think? What is your ideal? Like, what do you think is the ideal Batman movie? Like, what would that look like?
Um, so for me, I think I w- my ideal Batman film is to examine Batman's, like, how you say, his commitment to fight injustice in Gotham City,
Mm,
and like push the like see him pushing his limits as a person, and see how that affects him psychologically. Like that's something we got from the Batman. Like for that film, if you did you seen the Batman? Um,
no.
okay, so we do something about, because that is the early Batman, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about vengeance, right? So in that film, we're making Batman, like, he has to learn about, that's like nothing, like everything is not about vengeance, it's something else. Like that's what I want from a Batman film, is for Batman to learn that this certain thing is not always the thing to pursue. And so, and then using the villains, I want a Batman film where they use the villains to connect Batman and his like his ideological ideas that he has, and like
Mm,
how that contrasts to the villains and how they're trying to attack Gotham City and or attack Batman. That's my
yeah.
ideal Batman. Not this other way where we just focus on the Batman villains and then just do nothing with Batman. That's not my ideal Batman film at all.
Gotcha. Yeah, it
Uh,
seems like from what you're saying, like a focus on Batman is a big part of it.
yeah. Well, and if we want to go in a different direction, I do want to see the Batman family to be a focus and how they help Batman to be a better person.
Mm,
Like that's something the Joe Schumacher films do. They do Robin, and how Batman becomes a better partner, like a better person, and then in Batman and Robin he learned how to trust him as a partner. Like those stuff I want to see in Batman. You know, um,
yeah, I hear
and
you.
and the villains, I just want them to be used in a way where they reflect who is Batman, and like because a lot of them are similar to Bruce Wayne and Batman, but it's just they take the extreme
Yeah,
sometimes. Like the Arkham games did such an amazing job to balance who is Batman and like how they like go against his rules and all that.
yeah, definitely.
You know, yeah, that's why I love Batman in the series. You bring that up, like that show, like understood who was Batman. Like I remember vividly about like the no rule, the no killing rule thing before the Dark Knight trilogy, and like that was a big theme with that character in that show.
Yeah.
So, what about you? Well, what's your ideal Batman film? I'm curious.
I think I can agree with you. I
Okay.
think, yeah, like a lot of character drama, um, kind of exploring like why Batman does what he does,
Hmm.
and kind of like it seems like having the villains there for some like emotional journey that
Hmm.
takes place, with Batman, like
Hmm.
because things always feel very personal with him, so it's
Yes.
good when it reflects that. Um,
Yeah. Or the other round, like they fit the themes of what's going on with a Batman film. Like Begins was all about fear, right? And like Ra's al Ghul and Scarecrow were I say Ra's al Ghul was using fear tactics to like get rid of crime, or where like Scarecrow literally was using fear against the enemies. like
yeah,
like that. And then Dark Knight was about chaos, and Joker was, he's the agent of chaos. And then like Two Face, like he was like he's like a duality, but like he's also like he chooses what is chaos and order, like that sort of thing. I
and then
want to see.
Rises was about Bane, who's
Yeah,
also there.
yeah. Bane, the fire rises.
Yeah, you gotta love Bane.
Oh my god, I love Bane. Oh my god, I'm so excited to talk about Dark Knight Rises with you. This year's that's actually also a 10th anniversary for that film. Crazy. Oh my god.
Happy anniversary. We're getting old.
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. Is there anything else to say about Batman Returns? I think we covered everything,
I
right?
think we did it. Happy
Yeah.
anniversary to Batman Returns. Watch
Yeah.
it if you haven't. Uh,
Yep.
worth at least one watch, uh, if not more.
Oh my
And
god.
yeah,
Oh my god. Yeah, yeah. Oh my god, yes. Um, it's not a bad film. You can watch it. There's merits to watch Batman Returns. I mean, the visuals are awesome. The performances are great. We haven't talked too much about Michelle Pfeiffer, but like for me, Michelle Pfeiffer and her performance as Catwoman is amazing. Like it's one of the best. Still one of the best Catwoman performances. Um, Still, despite we got some contenders like the new Catwoman from the Batman. But yeah, but just keep in mind, yeah, it's not a Batman film; it's a Tim Burton film. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Always got to
yeah,
remember that.
yes. Just remember that, folks, because like it's Nightmare Before Christmas meets Mars Attacks, if that works to describe Batman Returns. By the way, I like both films. I love Nightmare Before Christmas and Mars Attacks. That's a fun
Mm,
movie.
yeah.
All right. Well, Jaedyn. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Oh my God.
I'm the other one.
The other one. I'm sorry, Jaedyn. Yeah. I'm so happy to talk to you again in the podcast. It was really fun to discuss Batman Forever, and now Batman Returns, which is great.
Yeah.
Um, so I do want to I want to make this like a recurring thing, but when you're available, what do you want to do next? To for to really say thank you for joining me and discuss this movie together. Do you want to do the cats? Do you really want me to do that? That's the next thing.
Yeah, we just have to figure that out at some point.
Yeah, yeah. I did mention Batman and Robin. This year that has a 25th anniversary. So yeah. Uh, well, there's one for Star Trek too. So
Yeah. We got options.
yeah, we got options. So, but yeah, but maybe we'll discuss that first when we sign off from the podcast. But anyway, thank you, Jaden, for coming today. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. Yeah, good to be
Yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah. So, well, folks, thank you for listening to this podcast. Me and Jaden will be back, soon, and just stay tuned for tomorrow to see this podcast be uploaded to the channel. So, thank you, everyone, and have a nice weekend.
Bye.